Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bremner Square podcast. My name's Jonny, and with me, as usual, we have Kieran Archer. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad. To say it's an international break, can be a bit boring, but I've enjoyed it. My non-league team that I talk about every week, I'm doing well. We're into the second round of the FA Trophy now, so good stuff.
Good. Give us some more details on that, because my international break week has been boring as anything. So give us some more details on that win into the second round.
So yeah, it's Liversidge FC. We're a step 4 side, the lowest side to enter the FA Trophy. Well, not the lowest side, but the lowest division. And we're doing extremely well. We beat Scarborough Athletic, who are a Northern Premier League Premier Division side, a league above us in Step 3. We then beat Baseford United, who are also in that division as well. So we've got 2 wins against teams from a division above us, and we've been drawn at home to Lancaster City. Would have maybe liked a National League North club because they enter at this stage of the competition. But it's a Battle of the Roses derby, so that's always a good thing. And it's another team from the division higher. It's quite a winnable tie for us, considering we've beaten 2 teams from that league already. So looking forward to it.
Is it a case of the finals at Wembley?
Yeah, the final would be at Wembley. It's a long way to go until Wembley still. It's only the second round proper. And like I say, I don't know if a Step 4 side has ever been to Wembley in the FA Trophy, but a Step 3 side did win the competition, the whole thing last season. So daring to dream. We're daring to dream.
I mean, there's a first time for everything, isn't there? So you never know. Was it last year you were at Wembley, but was that with a different club?
Yeah, so I was with Hebburn Town, and that was in the FA Vars. The FA Trophy and FA Vars are both part of non-league finals day. The FA Trophy is clubs at Step 1 to Step 4 of non-league. So the National League to what is the 8th tier of English football as a whole, the divisions at that level. The FA Vars is for teams at Step 5 and Step 6 of non-league. So it's a lot more winnable if you're with a side in the top divisions at Step 5. It's a very winnable national competition with a Wembley final, and both finals take part on the same day. Actually, it's part of non-league finals day.
Well, I mean, a day out of Wembley would be fantastic for any side, really. I think you went with the classic. Like, you could tell you're probably in the footballing zone where it was like taking one game at a time. I'm sort of that. I'm still not in that footballing environment yet, where I'm thinking, well, Wembley. How many games are you from Wembley? Get the tributes coming in like Kai is doing, who runs the Manchester United podcast. So I don't want to speak about him too much, but hashtag thank you, Max. Obviously, has left the podcast like we mentioned last week, gone on to some other stuff in Leeds, commentating in Leeds, as we say. Let's do it every week. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Max, for his legacy on the Bremner Square podcast. Speaking of Leeds United, we've got a game this weekend, Kieran. There's no more England international football. We've qualified for the World Cup in Qatar, though. Not Leeds, England, that is. How did you enjoy both the games against, was it Andorra and San Marino?
So I did actually watch the Andorra, the Albania game.
Was it Albania?
Yeah.
There's my England knowledge out the window.
I mean, Albania, to be honest, I went into it thinking these aren't the worst side in international football. They were definitely at Euro 2016. I don't think we're at Euro 2020. But, they've qualified for major international tournaments relatively recently. But honestly, they looked a shell of that side that qualified for Euro 2016. I was expecting a kind of awkward tie, and the kind of one that England only turns into a 2-0. And you're thinking, oh, if they pull a goal back, this becomes tense, but they never do. But no, it was easy. It was too easy, if anything, to the point that it wasn't at all entertaining. Which was a perfect warm-up for the next game, wasn't it? Because that was ridiculous, a 10-0 win. I don't know where I stand on the whole. Should San Marino have to go through qualifying to get through to like Euros main qualifying or World Cup main qualifying debate that some people have suggested? Because it's like, I suppose it is a great experience for those players to play against Germany if they get drawn in Germany's group, or England, But
play against Calvin Phillips.
Play against Calvin Phillips. That must be a fantastic experience for him. But at the same time, I can't imagine it does them much good just turning up and getting rolled over 10-0. So,
I
and
might,
it's
yeah.
not entertaining for people either. So I don't know. I'm in two minds on that debate.
What I think England are like the only side that can win. Was it 5 or 6 against? Was it Albania, Andorra, Albania? I honestly have completely forgotten. Was it 5? Was it
Albania.
5 or 6? No. Was it 5?
I think
They can win
I
5.
think it was 5, was it?
I think it was 5. I think it was 5. You can tell how much English football I've watched over the international break. I think England are the only side who can win 5-0, then 10-0, and still be called like boring. It's so it's so ridiculous. But I can't imagine the confidence of those San Marino players going into each game just thinking like, no, what is that second half team talk when you're 6-0 down at half time? What as a manager are you meant to say to those players? Still 0-0? I bet the footballing cliches were getting rolled around that dressing room at half time. Did Calvin play well in? Because he played one half of the San Marino game. He played a full 90 in the first game. Did he catch any of his performance?
I honestly thought it was relatively anonymous in both games, and I think it's because it wasn't the game that Calvin Phillips needed to play. Because
Yeah.
what attacks were he really breaking down? In possession, I saw him with a few touches in the Albania game, and it was steady stuff. Didn't really see any of those big diags, big switches of play that he can pull off. Just light touches, picking out the simple passes and keeping the play moving. So just steady, not bad,
Yeah.
not good. But I don't think he needed to play those games in all honesty, because the job that he does, he didn't need to be there to do. They could have easily put someone else in there or put a more attacking player in there, because we didn't really need to break down any quick counters or anything like that.
Imagine play San Marino again with an extra attacking player. I don't think they'd have been able to cope with an extra attacking man. I think they were probably quite happy when they saw Calvin playing. I was out on Monday night, so when I looked at the score, I saw he went off at half time. I was thinking, please don't be injured. Like I woke up this morning to see Rafinha got taken off in like the 68th, 69th minute, and I thought, just don't be injured. But he seems okay. Calvin seems okay. Liam Cooper seems okay. Dallas seems fine. Hopefully we can bring back some of the injured players for the game against Spurs, which we will be talking about on today's episode. We are live on the Leeds TV Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So make sure to put your comments in, your score predictions for the game when Leeds play Spurs on Sunday. It's the main on Sky Sports. Be in 20, Kieran. I don't know if you managed to actually of the world.
Sorry, Johnny, you dropped out for a little bit there. Can you repeat that?
Oh, are we back? Wait, can you hear me now?
We're back. Yeah.
Okay, we're back. I was going to say, the dates did get released for the World Cup in 2022. I don't know if you managed to catch them and what you think, because obviously they're being played over November and December.
I'm not 100% keen on. Well, I'm not at all keen on a Winter World Cup. I don't know. I'm just too caught in tradition of when the World Cup's on. It's around the time when you're either taking holidays off work, or as it's been for me recently, it's been the university break. So you're in the summer, you're free, it's warm outside, you can go to big screens, to fan parks, to just pubs with outdoor screens, and watch the match in kind of like a crowd, with a bit of atmosphere, rather than just sitting down in a pub. There's actually some atmosphere to it. It feels a little bit like being in a crowd at a match, except you're watching it on a screen instead. And I really do like the World Cup, the Euros. I really do love those. It's a great experience where the whole country's behind the national team. And everyone wants the same thing for once in football. As much as I do like the division and the rivalry, it's part of what makes a sport special. It is sometimes nice to just pull together with everybody. Not that won't take place. It's still the World Cup, and England are still taking part, and England will get behind the national team, but it just won't be the same in the winter. There won't be any outdoor fan parks in England in November, December. Well, I'm sure some will try, but I don't think I'll be going. it isn't going to be the same experience at all, and it's a bit like tradition being ripped up in the search of more money, because we know that this World Cup might be quite lucrative for people at FIFA, without saying too much on that. So yeah, it is. It just shows kind of the greed behind these organisations, I think.
Well, when thing is, I completely agree with what you're saying about the dates about it. So I am a lot of people will still be out in their big t-shirt and make it as much of summer as possible. I don't know. It's such a weird time. The actual dates, I think it's taking place from like mid-November until I think it's like the 18th of December. I think it is when the final's being played. Hopefully England are there, of course. And then the first game back in the Premier League is on Boxing Day. And I must admit, I was incredibly scared that the Boxing Day fixtures would get missed out. So the fact that they're back and that's like the first game back, I think that'll make that Boxing Day just 10 times more special than the usual Boxing Day football. So I'm a fan of that. But like the usual, just warm, beer gardens, everyone out. It's just not going to be the same, is it?
It's not, but like you say, I quite like that. The Boxing Day fixtures are a special thing in English football.
They are. They are.
It's always, well, it's not brilliant when you lose, but it's a good day out until the results in, at the very least, even if you lose. And it's good that we get to keep them. And like you say, it's going to add an extra bit of edge or something special to those fixtures. That
Yeah.
is the first league game back. So yeah, that's quite an exciting aspect, I suppose. But as for following the World Cup, it won't be the same.
Yeah.
And also breaking off from league football, because it's like, I spend the season mainly behind my club. England play a few matches. Yeah, I'll watch. Yeah, I'll be, a bit invested in the result.
Yeah.
But for most of the period between August and May, it's all about the club. And then when that's over, you just set that to one side. You get behind your national team for the summer, whereas it's going to be a different dynamic. I'm behind my club, or the World Cup's on. It's all about the national team, and
I
then
know.
within a week, it's you don't have pre-season, so it's like, oh, I'm back behind my club again. It's going to be very different. It's going to actually be
It's
quite strange, I think.
it's going to be so weird. And I was thinking, does that mean we're potentially going to get the season played like almost like the COVID summer when we got promoted, like throughout June and July? And I was thinking, oh, if they push that back, then maybe you get to go watch Leeds players at Ellen Road in like 30-degree heat. Then maybe that's a good thing about it. But they're still finishing the season in late May like usual, and they're cramming all the games in with all the Champions League, Europa League, I presume, are still staying the same. So I don't know whether that's going to mean we're going to get loads of midweek games between August and November. I know the season's going to start a week earlier in August than it usually does. So whether we see a couple more midweek games in that sort of first couple of months, I'm also a fan of. I think it's something it'd be interesting to try. I don't think it'll be one that a lot of people will be too happy with and be happy with to try again. But we'll see. We'll see. But like we said, I'm glad that they're back on the Boxing Day fixtures for the 26th. We spent a good 15 minutes rambling about England and Boxing Day fixtures. I can't wait for that game against Liverpool, that lunchtime kickoff. I don't know, just Christmas football. I tweeted about it in the week. I absolutely love it. Let's move on to the Spurs game. Leeds United travel to London. Already a bit of a red flag in that terms because we never do well in London. Obviously, we did beat Fulham last season at Craven Cottage, but fans weren't there. So you'll be seeing your stats pages pull up. Leeds haven't won in London since fans were in, since the QPR game when Roof scored a hat-trick back in like 2017. How are we feeling for this one, Kieran? Talk to me about your thoughts going into this game.
I'm in two minds about it, because you're scared of a bit of a new manager bounce with Spurs, aren't you? It's Conte's first league game at home. He has played at home in the Europa Conference League, I believe.
Yeah.
They've got a draw away at Everton since Conte came in, so he's still searching for the first league win, I suppose. He's had a bit more time to try and work with the majority of his group. I mean, some will have been away on international duty, and try and inject his ideas a bit. So you don't know if there is going to be a bit of that new manager bounce. But on the other side, side of it, based on the performances for most of the season so far, I'm not that fearful of Spurs. Yeah, I do think they're an extremely talented team with, on paper, a better squad than us with some world-class players in there. They do have some genuinely world-class players. But the form's been up and down this season. They started really well. They dropped off a bit. They started to pick up a couple of results again, and then they dropped off again. So, I think we've got every chance against a side with up and down form, especially since we seem to have turned a little bit of a corner ourselves. I think if the performance level is somewhere near that Leicester game at Elland Road, then we've got every chance of getting a result here. It just depends whether we do manage to maintain that level of performance, because we haven't seen it in that many games this season.
Well, yeah, like you say, obviously we're going into a game against a so-called Big Six club, like you say, with world-class players, with a new manager bounce potentially. But in terms of us, in our last game, we're actually going into this in probably after the best performance of the season, and a very good result against Leicester, which was obviously a point, but a point against Leicester at home, you'd probably take that going into the game, like we discussed last week. So I do agree, like they're well started how they'd want them to. I'm having like a coffee.
I think on the plus side here, Johnny, is that you dropped out a little bit there during the coughing fit. So I'm not sure it was all streamed live. But yeah, just more thoughts on Spurs. It's a bit worrying to see Harry Kane pick up some form, although it was for England and it was against the giants of football that are Albania and San Marino. It's not that, Leeds United, I'd like to think, are a very different test of Albania and San Marino. So he's still, you could say, still got something to prove in the Premier League this season. He still hasn't really picked up his form there. But, he is quite clearly feeling a little bit better. He'll have some confidence on the back of those performances, no matter who the opposition was. So stopping that threat is going to be quite key for us. I don't know how you stop a threat like Harry Kane when he's in form, because he is a superb player. I think Heung-min Son recently he may have dropped his form a little bit. He's definitely been picking me up less fantasy team points recently, and the annoying thing is I've been forgetting to change my team, so he's been my captain for a few weeks. So hopefully we don't see Son return to top form, because I absolutely love Son. I think he's an excellent player, so creative, with a massive threat in front of goal himself, and a great work rate as well. He's a bit, I don't want to compare him to Rafinha because they are very different players, but in terms of having the quality going forward, but also having a good work rate as well, despite being one of the flair players in the team, there's not many players like that. So yeah, I am worried about Spurs' threats, but I also think we've got a lot to offer ourselves. I think Rafinha flew back with a few of the other Premier League players on a private jet, so giving themselves the best chance possible of being well rested and ready to go again this weekend. So I think that's positive, because last international break we lost Rafinha because of the travel back from South America. So that's a big plus this weekend. So yeah, I think we've got a lot to offer in this game, and although I'm scared of Spurs' threats, we also have the threats of his own. Are you there, Johnny?